Okay, so I'm gonna do this a little bit differently because this is more of a casual thing. So this is all gonna be an audio log, but just for kicks, I'm gonna drop some video game music into the background while I'm talking here, and because right now I'm listening to video game music to help me concentrate, and I figure it would be nice if I helped spread the joy. So yeah, it's gonna be quiet, but you'll be able to hear it in the background when I put it in post. Now, this video is gonna be not video. This audio log is gonna be more or less about my reactions and my still informal but still kind of good review of the fourth sector. Now, compared to the story of the original fourth sector, which was a lot less structured than this, but was still relatively close to kinda okay, it really wasn't the same thing. In the original the fourth sector, after Hunter he got his ass kicked in Hunter's Revenge, and I think Hunter's Revenge 2, which always took place before the fourth sector, I think. Mario finds the Spire, gets teleported into the fourth sector, which he wasn't ever aware about, and he wasn't aware Hunter and Scorpion were there. And then through a series of events, Hunter and Scorpion genocide the entire sectorial race, and then we go kick Scorpion's ass, and that was the old story. Now in the new story, it's all changed because now we have this expanded whole universe thing going on with the Devious Four Chronicles. So now we have things like the Sphere of Order and that egg thing whose name I forget. And then we have the Omnipotent Hunter. And we have Scorpion, who unfortunately is now like a bit of a lackey now, since everything's going to hell. And now we're crossed over with Rosencruz or something. I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna push that bit about Arceus back to later on in the thing, because I got a few words to say about that too. Not all of them will be kind, but whatever. So first off, the level designs were nice. I like the colors. The contrast between the stages was real nice. I mean, like, you had your technological stages with the space station and all that. You had your natural stages with the opening bits of the fourth sector, and each world, putting that in air quotes because technically, yeah, they're all different worlds, literally, because real world in the Mushroom Kingdom sense, and then the fourth sector, and then past the fourth sector, and yeah. So, essentially, the level designs were quite nice. There were some kind of things that I thought were kind of bullshit, like in the end, near the in the middle of the orbital void, the whole jumping on the drones thing. I'm guessing that this thing would probably borderline fail. The Super Mario World Central process, because that's kind of difficult. But aside from that, the parts where sprite memory became a real issue really bugged me, and I'm not sure what to blame that on, because it was a problem before with the other hacks. I'm not even talking about the current ones. I mean, before, when they were still trying to connect everything together, like back when I started Let's Playing, sprite memory was still much of an issue, and here it still kind of is, with too many sprites on the screen causing huge graphical slowdown or making other sprites not spawn altogether. Before the event of the space station, I was warned. Was it before? I can't remember anymore because because since they were so long, they all kind of blended together. I know there, and in one of the 3 last videos I did, I know there was a part where I had to dodge beams that shot from the sky and below. Not the sky, but from the ceiling and the floor. And I know that that it was hard, and those things kept spawning. I don't know why they kept spawning. Why would you put that there? Just keeps to unless you just wanted to like totally destroy everything I worked for. In any case, scenes like Scorpion's Temple, where that platform wouldn't spawn because sprite memory, that bugged me too. I'm gonna go off on a lot of tangents here, by the way. That bugged me too because there didn't seem to be that many sprites on the screen. There was maybe 2 Valkyrie drones, and that was it. 2 Valkyrie drones and a little spider drone. And that was it. For some reason, that was enough to cause the thing not spawn. Maybe things were hidden in the tiles or something. I don't know. Because I know some of the Valkyries had a habit of like of flying into the tiles in the background and kind of staying there and messing with everything. But there didn't seem to be anything there that would make the thing not spawn. That was just kind of weird. And then near the end of the hack, there were a lot of places where graphical slowdown was very apparent. I know in the last video, which I was there on Skype with Hunter and Scorpion while they were watching it, and Hunter or Scorpion, I don't know. Sometimes they share, sometimes they log in on different names. Sometimes they share the same name, and it gets confusing as to which. One of them asked me if the video was laggy because of the recording or because of the hack. I don't know what you all think, but just to put it in perspective, the monitor I use on my desktop, which I'm using to record things from now on, has a refresh rate of 60, so it gets 60 frames per second. But to save on file size, and because YouTube compresses it down to it anyway, I record at 30 frames. So the slowdown is kind of apparent to me because I record at 30 frames when the monitor can take 60, so it's kind of choppy-ish and slowish. But YouTube renders it that way anyway, so it shouldn't look any different to anyone else but really me. And there were a lot of cases, and in the Orbital Void, there was just a lot of graphical slowdown in general. Sometimes it was minor, sometimes it was huge. Especially in the last 2 levels in general with 4th sector, you know, there was just major slowdown. I slipped off the tangent too much. I forgot what the original point was. Oh yeah. Actually, no, I forgot what it was. All right, level design. But overall, the level design was pretty good. Nice touches were the boss fight in the temple, where it went from Sonic and Eifer to Spiritia and Iris. That was a nice touch, you know, 2-stage boss fight with 2 different characters. I don't keep in touch with the hacking scene that much, so I'm not familiar with any of the tools used aside from lunar magic to do things. But I thought, you know, I had never seen before where you could switch up the protagonists in terms of sprite and have them be different things, because you know that in the Orbital Void we marathon between Mario and Sonic and Spiritia, and the Temple we transferred from that a lot more. It was a nice touch. I wish I would have been told about the whole pressing down on those block things to spit up the throw blocks. I mean, I figured it out eventually, so that was no problem. But before then, I spent a lot of time doing things. You know, I spent a lot of time in the 4th sector trying to figure out what to do when the answer is either obvious or right there. I remember when discussing the Orbital Void with Hunter while he was watching my recording after I had uploaded it, I had mentioned the feather being taken away from me, and and Hunter, or Scorpion, because again they were sharing screen names, said that they had put it in there just so that I can use the raccoon tail to get past the obstacle, and then they would lose it. Not me in particular, just like the player base in general, but I think they're just doing that to make me upset. It's kind of working. But in any case, level design, you know, it was good. Nothing too bad, aside from like a few things here and there, like the Koopa drone bounces and things like that of that nature. In some cases, things could have been more specified, like Sonic versus Scorpion at the SOB DPG, where Sonic claims he's gonna beat down Scorpion, but the actual target is the generator. True, it's hinted at in the dialogue, but he's doing it in the wrong order, where first they mention the generator, and then Sonic says, okay, now I'm gonna beat Scorpion's ass to the ground, and then that's not the actual point of the fight. Now, I'm sure that's something they might fix later. Not they, Scorpion. I'm sure that's something Scorpion might fix later if he still plans to work on the hack. And I'm sure at some point he'll address the sprite memory issues. But let's move on to the story, because that story was something else, wasn't it? And this is gonna go into the RKS thing in shortly. Just bear with me. When it comes to the story was pretty good. It started off as I expected it to start off. You know, not necessarily happy-go-lucky, but you know, hey, we beat the bad guys. Let's go do something. Oh shit, a spire, and now we're in a different world. So that, you know, it seemed par for the course for me at the time. But then the story started diverging from the original Fourth Sector when I played it years ago, and now we're suddenly dealing with Enlightened and the Sphere of Order, and instead of genociding the entire sectorial thing, we actually managed to get Scorpion out before that can happen. And instead we have the mountain, the Crystal Mountain, I believe it was called, where shit happens, and the entire mood did a 180 from vaguely happy-go-lucky to oh crap, shit just got serious. Now I always been kind of skeptical in terms of story on Super Mario World hacks, because there's not much you can do. At least this is my mindset, and I'm probably horribly wrong in it, because I don't keep in touch with the hacking part of it. But I'd always found it hard to be able to create a believable story, not believable, but like an entertaining story in terms of Super Mario World hacking. There's only so much you can do with cutscene cutscene things, but I think the way Scorpion did it worked well, in that with the logs and the background sprites and things, you had this tale going on of these drones who wanted to help explore and help Hunter and Scorpion whenever they could, and slowly end up being corrupted by possibly the very thing they were there to get in the first place. And then, you know, just watching the sanity go down in the drones as they slowly lose control of themselves and who they are. And you know, that's pretty. I wouldn't say that's too deep, but that's pretty. That's something you don't really see much in terms of Super Mario World hacks. And in terms of the overarching story with regard to the previous four and the Enlightened ones, I think we'll see that much more expanded, because when it comes to that overarching story, you can't really take any one of the hacks at their face value. You have to bring them all together. So I can't really comment much on the whole overarching thing. I will say though that Hunter's coming off as a complete bastard, which I'm assuming is the point, because before, you know, he was always like unlikable, but now he's someone to actually hate, like completely. And Scorpion, I'm not sure how to feel about him. I mean, I know he's a villain, yet it's hard to not. I mean, it's hard to not sympathize with him at least slightly because of the way he was being used. I mentioned before in the video that him getting petrified is probably going to result in an easy-ish revival later on. And I'm probably not far from the truth in that, but I don't know for sure. But I don't know. The fact that the idea that someone you're close to is actually doesn't really care about you that much in the slightest, or if he does, not enough to care so much that your plans are going to shit. To have his own agenda, to be pushing his own agenda. I don't know. Kind of makes me feel sorry for him, which makes me feel kind of weird. Not necessarily because sympathizing with the villains, but because I had always pictured my rival with Hunter, the character, as being he screws me up, and then I try to screw him up with the hacks, and we both end up screwing each other up a lot. But now there's an actual legitimate reason to hate Hunter, and this goes beyond the Hunter in Hunter's Revenge, the killing of the Crater, the killing of Alenia in the Crater, and now he's just someone to legitimately hate because he's essentially being a god and dicking with everybody and pretty much playing Xanato's chess and it's a neat little despising thing. But I've always played up the Hunter versus Gunblazer 42 thing for at least slight laughs. I mean, the parts where he screws me up by teleporting into me and stuff, that's all real and stuff. But I always kind of had a neat little fascination with the character. Now though, he's become very unlikable, and I'm pretty sure if he was a real person, I'd probably want to beat him down very hard, send him to the hospital. But yeah. In terms of the story, it was nice. It kept my attention throughout the hard parts. In terms of story to gameplay ratio, it was quite nice because up until the end, you only had a cutscene or two, and then a bunch of levels of gameplay, and then cutscene or two, and then, as one would expect, the plot rolled on and on and on, and the cutscenes got a bit longer and a bit longer as we neared the end. But it was nice, and that brings me to the Rosencrantz thing. I like to think that part of the idea of crossovers is that if you haven't been exposed to the second part of that crossover, it's a nice little way to introduce you to things. Like, in terms of things like comic crossovers, like the DC multiverse and the Marvel universe, not like them crossing each other, but I mean like them having comics that arc into an over thing, miniseries crossover thing. That it's established that they pretty much take place in the same universe or at least alternate dimensions and things, and I'm not going to get into that much. But in terms of things like say Namco X Capcom or Project X Zone, where things from completely different universes and timelines and things just come together. I like to think that that's a way to introduce people to the new thing. Like, say, if you're playing Namco X Capcom and you have no idea what the hell Klonoa is, or any of the other sort of obscure titles that are referenced in the game, the characters there should give you at least some idea of what the series would be about, so that you might be able to get interested in it and check it out later. In terms of this thing with Rosencrantz, I'm not sure what to make of it. I did some research, some quick 5-minute research before I started recording this, and all I really know about Rosencrantz, or full names like Rosencrantz Rosencruz. I don't know. It's I'm just gonna call it RKS because that's what apparently everyone calls it. All I know is that it's one of those doujin games that's with original characters but are inspired by another series. All I know is that it kind of plays like Mega Man crossed over with Castlevania or something. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm not sure if I will because I'm not sure how I'd go about obtaining the thing. Now, I think Hunter's Revenge 3 takes place right after the 4th sector, and I'm reading the comments in my videos from when he's talking to other people. Scorpion or Hunter or Scorpion, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm pretty much using them both as one being right now. Said that it might that Hunter's Revenge 3 is probably going to take place in the RKS universe, and I'm kind of interested in seeing how that turned out because what I'm feeling right now is I think what is part of what you should be feeling in a crossover that you don't know what the other half is that you get dropped into the middle of another story and you have no idea what's going on, you have no idea who these characters are, and part of the crossover is to at least partly explain who they are and what they are. And all I know from RKS, from the 4th sector, is that there's a girl named Spiritia, there's a fairy named Lily, there's 2 other girls, one of them which is probably a machine or a cyborg or whatever, named Iris and Ifer, who are bad people and get into shit, and there's Frodia, or Frudia, because I have no idea how the hell he meant to spell that, who I'm guessing is related to, not related, is friends with Spiritia, and both Spiritia and Iris are descended or share blood relations with or have power from some dude named Rosencruz, and I don't know, and there's something called the Black Forest in there, and there's a Holy Empire, and that's all I know. It's hard to be emotionally invested in the characters when you have no idea what the hell they're about. So I'm assuming that at least Hunter's Revenge 3 will quell some of that out, because I'm still not sure what game Alenia's from, but I at least, got to be able to sympathize with her, with the way her backstory was framed in the crater, and her eventual demise made me real sad. So I'm hoping that they can address at least some of that, because I think that would be good for people like me who are playing it and have no idea what the hell RKS is. I still don't know what RKS is, aside from the fact that it's probably a side-scrolling action platformer, which a bunch of doujin games are actually. So I wouldn't be, if they're not shoot 'em ups, they tend to be 2D action platformers. But there's that. In terms of sound design, well, yeah, sound design. Some of the noises were questionable near the end after he started using another tool. I mean, the taps of the buzzsaws was annoying as hell, and it got so bad to the point where he actually had to, where he, and by he I'm referring to both Hunter and Scorpion at the same time, because now I'm not even sure. It's getting to the point where I think they might just be one person and have split personalities, where he had to completely eliminate a certain species of sprites, because whenever they made noise they would kill the entire sound and the music, and if a tool does that, that's not a good tool to be using until it's updated more. But in terms of sound design, the music was nice. I liked the carryovers that they did from the old 4th sector. I say carryovers, but you know what I mean. They stuck they put music there from that references the original. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore when it comes to that. What I mean is that there's still a bunch of songs from the original 4th sector there, but there's a bunch of new ones too. But some of them sounded very out of place. and I'm talking mainly more about the ones from the SNES that were ported for Super Mario World. Pokey Means Business was quite fitting for the Battle vs. Hunter, but it sounded well, it didn't it felt a bit off to me. I'm not trying to describe it, but it didn't it didn't fit the mood that well, because it just didn't feel that right. And the Super Mario RPG boss fight theme for the two-stage boss fight in the temple, that I'm guessing that was just, you know, for you know, high energy, up tempo fighting music, but it didn't appear to mesh well with the battle to me. And I think that's just because of the fact that that song was suited for RPG battling, and Super Mario World didn't have any RPG battling in it. So it didn't really throw me off, but it didn't sit well with me either. I'm not entirely sure why, but it just didn't sound that good. Well, it sounded good, but it didn't sound like it fit well. I'm gonna be asked to elaborate, and I won't be able to explain that, and it kind of hurts me to think that. But there it is. No speculations for me right now in this video. What else? I got story, I got gameplay. Sonic with a raccoon tail was one of the oddest things I've seen in a Super Mario World hack so far. I mean, like, Scorpion, well, okay, I better go actually naming them. He told me that he was too lazy to, not too lazy, but it was too hard to give Sonic another sprite for the feather, so he just stuck with the tail. Sonic with a raccoon tail still amuses me, because it's like, it kind of reminds me of a furry trying to be a furry, in that he's an animal and tries to be another animal, and it kind of doesn't work. And that's kind of hilarious to me. But whatever. Story, gameplay. Not much of gameplay. It's Super Mario World. What do you expect? Story, level design, music and sound, the Rosencrantz thing. I think that's really about all I have to say in regards to actually, no, I do have one more thing to say about the story. The fact that it ended the way it did, with a no credits back to the overworld thing. I know now that he deliberately put no credits in there, but it ended kind of the way that went, where it went from Hunter teleporting away, and then back to the overworld. That was a bit jarring, in that, you know, you have, you're pumped because, you know, dialogue and plot and things, and then suddenly you're back in the overworld. I know the reason why he did it, because there's extras, like extra levels and stuff, and bonus levels, but it still kind of threw me off for a loop, because, you know, it was like a sudden stop, and I didn't, and it was just unsettling to me. But at least the boss fight didn't glitch out like it did in the original, so I can appreciate that at least. They've come a long way in their hacking skills, and I like what they've done so far. In terms of story for the next series of hacks, we're not going to be seeing them anytime soon, I think. I know Hunter has a demo-ish out for Hunter's Revenge 3, because I think other people are playing it or have played it. I don't know. I see so many playthroughs of the of the creator in the fourth sector up now that it's getting hard to keep track of who's doing what. But I will say that that this hiatus I'm gonna take from the Devious 4 series is gonna be something, because while I do have other things in the pipeline, it's gonna be so weird because I'm so used to like sitting down and be like, all right, it's time to record a Devious 4 video, and then I have no more Devious 4 things to record. Hunter offered me the demo for Revenge 3 to play for a while, but I'm holding off on that because I know at some point it's gonna get to a point where I'm gonna reach a pivotal cutscene, where the plot thickens, and then I can't do anything more until he's done. That's gonna be jarring. And I know people have pointed out that, you know, I have the other things to do, the side story things, but I don't know. I think the 4 sectors ruined Scorpion and Hunter for me, in that I can't really see them as joking around anymore. Hunter, or Scorpion, explained it to me the other day that, you know, that this is the first time they've ever actually gotten had a loss handed to them in ever since their creation, and so of course they wouldn't be joking and all, but after seeing all that in the 4th sector, I can't really go back to them being, you know, happy-go-lucky and jokey again, because I'm always gonna be thinking of the 4th sector there, and then the mood's gonna kind of be killed, especially in regards to Hunter knowing what he's like now. So anything that takes place prior to the 4th sector or as a spin-off or side series thing, I'm not sure I'll be able to play and stay concentrated on it, because there's gonna be that disconnect there, and it's not gonna flow as well for me. And if it doesn't flow as well for me, then my heart gets out of it real quickly. So while I do have other stuff in the series that I could do, I'm probably not going to do them because yeah, the way they act in the 4th sector kind of spoiled the entire thing for me. Not in a bad way, mind you, but like, you know, it's hard to see people go back to being happy-go-lucky and joking around with each other, and when you see their true intentions, it's not something you can just dismiss easily. And I think that about covers everything I had to talk about with it. How long has this rant been going on for? Like a long time, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here because I didn't realize I could rant for that long a time. Until next time, this is Gunblazer 42. If anyone has any questions for me regarding things I may have missed about the series, or if they feel I haven't explained myself enough in terms of some things, feel free to ask me, because I didn't really prepare for this video. Now stop calling it a video. I didn't prepare for this audio log because, as you can tell, I've a lot and I've jumped topics, and I really need to have an outline with me next time I do an audio log. But I spent so long on this, I may as well just go ahead and just stop it here. So yeah, until next time, this is Gunblazer 42. I will see you all. I'm not sure when, because I haven't decided what my next project's gonna be. I have one up. I have a few things planned, including a hack I did before called Super Havoc World, and some other things. Maybe a PC game thing with friends of mine or something. But we'll see where this goes. Bye, everybody.